What's up, dudes? Dudes and saber ladies, because there are saber ladies, which is awesome. Uh, Doing another video. Um, Wanted to pump out a bunch of them because it's fun, and I enjoy talking to you guys. Uh, this next saber out of my collection I did a while back. Um, don't have a display box for it because I keep it on. I keep it on my around my desk. I have a bunch of like singular floating shelves. There are like four and like two sabers per shelf. Kind of sits on there. They're kind of my like in queue projects for the most part, but I also have some of them that are finished up there just because I ran out of space, I guess. But this next one is I wanted for the longest time. I loved the Solos Hold Maverick for the Corran Horn Jedi lightsaber, and then of course Rob Genesis Custom Sabers did an MHS version, like his own take on what Corran Horn saber is, and I fell in love with that too, and I like the whole idea of the lightsaber being from a speeder bike handle was just like super cool to me, and I was like, man, that is so like I just love when people when it gets a little crafty, when the story gets a little crafty with like the hilts and the history of the hilts. Like I'm sure everyone else is. That's why we're here, but we're all suckers for the mythology behind a lightsaber, and so I was just like, man, that is so cool. Like, again, the Solos Hold Maverick. One of these days, I'd love to own one. If somebody wants to help me out, that'd be sweet. But that's a lot of bones for one saber. It's worth every penny from what I've seen and from what I hear. But yeah, I got a lot in the pipeline, so I can't be dropping that kind of cash for an empty hilt. But one day. Anyway, so I got the itch, and I was like, I want to try my own version, and I didn't want to make a straight up copy of Rob's or the Maverick or whatever. I wanted to. I have this thing where, and it goes back to me buying just a ton of parts. I always buy parts, and parts I don't use, they go into my little scrap bin, and I refurbish them later for refurbish. That's not I reuse them for later projects, whatever happens. Because I mean, that's part of the fun for me is a lot of times if I'm doing a full custom build, I'll pull that out and I'm just like, all right, this can go in this and that can go there, and then you walk away, you come back after you eat like a lunch or whatever, or take a break, and you for some reason something different pops out at you. It's really fun. It's one of my most fun aspects because it's of custom building, because it's just like it's like a scavenger hunt, a puzzle. Like, it's just a lot of fun for me. And so I had a bunch of pieces that I hadn't used, kind of like my scrap tech, and some of my other builds, mainly the scrap tech. It was, I guess you can even say budget. They were budget builds. The scrap tech was a budget build for sure, aside from the Solos Hold pommel. And my Corran Horn was a budget build. I think I spent like, I mean, obviously I bought these parts back in the day or whenever, or just, pommel wasn't used, I swapped out pommel. So money was spent, but at the time, I mean, even the soundboard was reused from just, I have a bunch of soundboards. Honestly, I don't know what I bought. I think it was all in there, and I was like, all right, well, let's make a saber out of this. So it's all MHS, and I have right here is my Corran Horn speeder bike handle saber, which out of all my sabers, this one just feels it feels different, and it's mainly in part to the way I did the grip. Love that emitter. And all the weathering I did with aluminum black. aluminum black, and then some, acrylics, a little bit of Rust-Oleum spray paint from like a distance, to get kind of like that last little darkening areas, and then Scotch-Brite, steel wool, what have you. But going back to this grip, I wasn't sure what I was going to use, and in my mind, it's more of I don't really know what the swoop speeder bike handles look like. I don't know if you guys remember the swoops from like, Shadows of the Empire or whatever. But I figured like a chopper, like a Harley, more style speeder bike instead of the standard indoor, like Maverick solo style, which I love, but again, I wanted to do something a little different. So this I kind of pictured more like, well, I might switch out the submitter just to see the other one, but like the handle goes in there, freaking riding on it like that. So for the grip, I was like, I want that knurled, like rubber grip, and I didn't know how I was going to go about that. Well, a long time ago when I first started doing custom builds on my own, there was I couldn't find leather wraps at the time. I just didn't know what I was looking for, what I was doing. And Hobby Lobby has those like faux leather wraps that I was like, these things are not the best. I know some companies use it standard, but I like real leather feeling. That's why I usually get lambskin or Defcon off of I think it's just on eBay, but he sells some really great leather wraps. But anyways, this is I stumbled across tennis rackets wraps. Tennis rackets have like a more rubbery wrap to it, and I put it on the saber that I had back in the day, and it felt so cool. Like it was so, I don't know, it felt really good. And of course it has like the Wilson lettering or whatever brand it is, and I just used a soldering iron and just kind of melted like that, and not the tip, just the end, like the long neck of the soldering iron. And I just got rid of the logo and was like, it's battle damaged, because battle damage hides all crimes. It's always fun. Speaking of crimes, when I drilled and tapped originally, like a goober, I was like, boom, bam. I've done this a billion times. The down here is where I did it, because this was going to be black. I knew it was going to be weathered and black in there, and I drilled and tapped, and it was like, this is just too thin to the inside. So as soon as I got the screw in there, it went in, and it was like, nope. It's like, so it's very, very thin to put an actual thread through, so it didn't hold. And I was like, well, crap, I screwed it up, and now I'm gonna have this big old hole. I just gotta get a whole new piece, and my whole goal was just to not spend any new money on this. So I ended up getting like an aluminum filler, and I filled in that hole with aluminum filler, and then I weathered over it. And you can't even see it. It's right underneath this tap. You might be able to see it a little bit in that light. If you can, it's because I told you, not because you found it yourself. But yeah, I mean, it works out great. So I say, weathering hides the crimes, and it's also pretty sweet that weathering is a Star Wars thing, in was it used universe? But yeah, and I'm not really a fan for shiny props anyways. I think shiny props make it look a little fake, like assembly line shiny. I know some people like just spotless clean, and to me, spotless clean just doesn't seem realistic. You're going to use it, it's going to get dirty, it's going to get scratched. So the rubber grips I then took, because I was burning it, the labels off. Like Wilson and W and all that stuff. The knurled aspect of the soldering iron, I scored in a diamond pattern to get that knurling effect from each direction. So I just all the way across, all the way around. It took a few seconds, but I really like it. And because it was like melting the rubber, now this is like, it's not a soft rubber. It feels like an industrial, like what would be on a bike. I mean, this thing grips. It's just pretty nice. All right, enough jabbering on. It's a Prizm 5.0, I believe, NeoPixel. I'm not gonna open it up and pull out the battery. It has a chassis system, the custom Saber Shop all-in-one removable battery chassis sleeve on it. I have it really tight because I like to eliminate all the gaps I can. I think I dremeled out that chassis at one point to fit another Saber, and then I ended up scrapping that idea. So this isn't like a true 100% like clean chassis, so it doesn't fit. It didn't fit very good, like tight in there. So I had like some electrical tape around the speaker to kind of close that gap, so it sticks, and it's kind of a process. I don't know. It'll take longer. This video will be a lot longer for me to pull it out and show you a very standard chassis. So I cut up sleeve material to give this part a little bit of a raise. Sleeve material, sleeve material, sleeve material. So that way I can hide the lines between the body and the emitter. And then I got one of the claw holders. The claw holder was cool. That was something that I was like, yep, that's what it goes to. I was gonna put like a brake, you know, like a bike. But then I was like, I've always wanted to have blinkies. I don't really have that many Sabers with blinkies, accent lights, and I got these switches. This is where I spent the money on after the build, was the switches. They're like $15 a piece, I think, on the custom Saber Shop, and I was like, well, now's the time to try it out, and it's fun. I mean, I don't hate it. Kind of a pain to, you know, because I think I dropped it, and like the green button is not as clicky anymore, but it still works. But and it wasn't like a drop, like it was sitting up and it fell over, and I was like, oh no, and that's because I didn't drill them far in and recessed. But even then, I feel like it would have happened sooner or later. Anyways, this is the Prizm, and I have two of the Corran Horn speeder bike fonts from Sabers Forever, I think. Had to have it, and then I had that font forever, and I didn't have a Corran Horn, so it always felt kind of silly. But now I'm like, all right, there's a purpose for this sound font. Actually, this is Corellian, so LED blinky, standby. Now you got blinky. I don't have a blade plug. I mean, I like my blade plug in here, which is Saber Forge, but I don't have it NeoPixel just yet. Tweak the settings to where it's smooth. I love that. Rob from Genesis Custom Sabers. That little two-tone. My only thing is, I wish you could still swing it. Like, it's a force effect noise, so it comes back afterwards. But man, if I could just and then have a lower swing, that's where it would be at. Hopefully somebody does pairs or something like that for CFX, and I can upgrade this baby. Alright, so I have my tunes in the background. Sorry. Let's see. I just threw a couple different. Once I had the two fonts on there for my Corran Horn, for my speeder bike font. I was like, I'll put Corellian on. I try to make it as much of Corran Horn inspired. But I mean, there's what, 1-2 fonts. So I was like, let's just put some other fonts on here that are kind of fun and interesting. This is Bespin. Yeah. Bespin 2. Alright, let's get to the good stuff. Come on. This is The Balance by Kate Smith. Really good font. Love the swings. The Dark Saber, Black Saber. There we go. Now we're at the speeder bike. I'm gonna go ahead and put the blade in since we're here for the speeder bike, because it's cool watching it light up to the ignition. It's just that's when I was like, yeah, worth it. And these Prizm boards, you can get really good if you mess with the settings, the gate and the sensitivities. You can get them really, really nicely pumped out as far as sensitivity. All right, Neo Pixel blade, one of mine that I made a long time ago. Got to redo, but here we go. Got that Corran Horn blue, fast pulse. Sometimes I just like a fast pulse. Again, I took out the bolts. I like the bolts, but sometimes, like I've said before, sometimes I like it to just be like in your face, like, bah! Like, wake up. Little speeder bike. Super cool. Love it. So when you get the speeder bike font, you get two different fonts basically in it. So you have the Corran Horn speeder bike with like just a generic lightsabers like the swing, which is what you just heard, and then this one is more of the true to like speeder bike swing. We'll see what comes. Love that ignition. So much fun. Every swing is like a speed bike. Oh, come on. I love that. Like a But what I was saying, like, it's so much fun to do it every time. One more time. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, so, I mean, pretty much standard Prizm from there on out. I love a fast ignition on off. Off the front, but. And of course, color changing because it's Prizm. I'm kind of particular. I like my blues, greens, and reds. I don't get too crazy, although that looks really cool on camera. And of course, Corran Horn's supposed to have like a blue, like a silver blade, right? Everyone always says silver, but I don't really know what that means. Because I mean, like, silver to me, when I see silver on paper, I'm like, okay, that's silver, that's blue. But every time someone's like, it's a silver, and I see it as blue, I'm like, what? I don't. Maybe I'm just lost on that, and it's just like a. I don't know. Yeah. Love it. It's a lot of fun. This one was fun the entire time. See what I'm saying? Just makes it pretty wild here. Why not? Back to, what is this? Oh, yeah. Yeah, here we go. I just put it on because it was different at the time. Oh, and it's got a fast pulse. Put that on there, a little faster than. Yeah, back to the speeder bike. I mean, that's just every time you cut that on, it feels good. It's fun. It's literally, look at that. Oh, what happened there? I gotta charge the battery or swap the battery. Yeah, anyways, that was fun. I forget about these sometimes. I mean, I have so many that I play with that sometimes I forget to give a little love to some of them, and I'm like, oh man, you know, there's a reason I made this. But at one point I was like, I'm all about it. But yeah, I still love it. And I find a way to display it better. I mean, it sits on a little display plaque or base that I carved out. Like, I got these just because I didn't like the saber sitting flat, and I carved into them, painted them up, so it kind of sits on my shelf a little bit more like it's presentable. I don't know. These are little tiny plaques that I keep on saying plaques, little tiny pieces of wood that I was like real quick just carved into, and so that way it looks a little bit better when it's sitting on these shelves. Anyways, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. But alright, well, we'll see you guys in the next video, and may the force be with you.